Hello. I'm at PJ Hoffmaster State Park. Just used up most of my video room to, record these trees while listening to a song that I haven't released yet called Fluttering. It's from years ago. Anyway, I might just post that later. Let's see. I might post this. I should post this. It being day 300 and all. Feeling really melancholy without feeling sad, if that makes sense. There's a lot going on in the world right now. Fires and just destruction and anger and sadness everywhere. And been wrestling the last few days with how to add my voice to the noise, or if to add my voice to the noise. Anyway. Whoops. There you go. That's my thoughts. Okay. That sound again. It's 77. FYI. I used this sound a few days ago. We'll see. I don't know if this is the right sound for this. at all. Anything at all. Well, I think my video ran out right in the beginning, but it's okay. I guess you can, post a picture of this place. The land in Michigan is very beautiful. But then again, the land in many places I've been is very beautiful. Just thinking about where my love of travel comes from, and I think it comes from having been lots of places. I was given a grant when I was in college to go study in London, or a fellowship, I guess it's called. And while I was living in London for those 4 months, I traveled to like 9 countries, and a lot of the time alone. And I was like, I don't even know if I was maybe 20 or maybe 21. No, I was 20. And yeah, it was eye-opening and meaningful, and something I wish everybody could do, just to see so many places, so many beautiful places. It kind of just changed my view of what anything is. Like, everywhere is a home to somebody, and everywhere has some beauty somewhere around it, and I think so many of us are stuck. I don't know. No matter where I've ever lived since, I think I've tried to find the beauty in it. I've tried to find the beautiful places. And I was living in New York on the Upper West Side, and missing nature pretty fiercely, and I would walk through Central Park occasionally to work, which was on the Upper West Side at one of my jobs. And I also, when it wasn't as nice out, I would still really miss nature, and I would walk over to, gosh, I think it's the Hudson River, the one that borders Jersey. Whoops. Geography. And I would walk over there to, I think it's Riverside Park, and I would stare down at the water, and I wouldn't look at the buildings, all the development across the river, because that was ugly to me. It was unfinished and dirty, and this was post 9/11, and it was just a very sad time, and I remember feeling like I needed nature to heal from some of the things that I was going through, and I couldn't find it living, on 106th Street. I wasn't comfortable enough in my skin to just go hug a tree. There's plenty of trees there. Or to even really be that free-spirited while in Central Park. I had to go live in places where there was literally no one around. Like right now I'm sitting in a running car at PJ Hoffmaster, and yeah, some cars have driven by, but nobody's sat and stared at me. Whereas when I lived in New York, I felt like people could literally see everything I was doing all the time, and it was a little harder to heal from things there. But I don't know that I even wanted to while I was there, so anyway, but I would, I loved New York, very, very much, and if I could have afforded to stay there, I probably would have stayed there, but I couldn't figure it out after grad school, because it's very expensive, and so I would go to this little spot. It was just a little patch of park right at Riverside Park, which is barely a park compared to Michigan or most of the Midwest that I know, where it's more expansive. And it was very skinny and narrow, and there were people everywhere. But I found solace in just staring at this little. I would block out. I would use my imagination to just block out with my mind the ugly parts of the view, and I would just stare at the beautiful parts. And maybe in a way that's where my personality began to develop, of it's almost comical or laughable, I would imagine at times, for somebody to be optimistic and full of hope in the world that we're currently living in. And I see I read like Facebook posts by friends or people younger than me that I know who are rightfully angry and at all the separation and divide happening, and whether or not some of that was intentional by outside forces to get us all to be angry at each other and angry all the time so we lose our power, I don't know. But and I don't think any of those voices are wrong. I just think about, like, what does it feel like in my skin right now? Like, what can I do to feel more at peace? And from that place of peace, can I be more useful? Can I heal more hearts, or at least heal my own, or connect with something that heals my own? I don't know what, I don't know what does it, but I know that a lot of people out there are so upset all the time that then they have chronic anxiety and need to be on medication all the time. And I'm not on any medication, and that's not to brag, that's just to say I discovered this a long time ago when I tried medication because of a particular difficult phase of my life. I was actually in an abusive situation, and a person was causing me such regular panic attacks that I did end up going on a medication that helped, with the combination of that and my very intense brain and being, intense everything. And what I've had to do when I left that person and then also came off the medication, what I had to do is just really accept and embrace my intensity and my irregularities, and allow myself, if I need to write this many songs or journal this much or whatever I do to process life in a way that feels healthy for me, and I haven't been on medication in like 5 years now. I just did it for like 2 years, and it helped me get through that time, and it helped me make wise choices to get out of bad situations. So I would definitely recommend it for anyone who needs it. But I guess what I'm saying is, like, I've had to learn, for me, now as a person who's not on medication, but who has had issues with anxiety in the past and issues with panic attacks in the past, like, now I know I have to manage my emotions on the front end. Like, I can't let it get to that. So if my anger or frustration or sadness at humanity or society and different topics, if it starts to get too extreme, I have to self-soothe. I have to take care of myself. And for me to take care of myself, it's not just like a list of silly things like bubble baths and reading and all of that. Like, it's how I talk to myself, and it's what I do with my time, and it's nature, and it's, I don't know. So it's day 300, and like I said when I started this video, I'm just feeling sad today. I feel sad for so many people. And what's weird is I don't feel sad for myself right now. Like, at all. I feel lucky and blessed and grateful for a lot of the components of my life. But I don't feel right talking about that right now in this day and age, because the only way to make that a universal comforting thing to others is if I keep stressing, and you can have it too if you just do these things. And, like, that's not comforting. That's, like, kind of like humble bragging. So, I don't know. Just, I guess, sending out a hug to the whole world right now. And if you're somebody who's living in a situation where you're really having a hard time seeing the light, maybe my story about how I started to find beauty and peace in nature, even while living in New York, and, like, visualizing blocking out ugly buildings, and I don't know, maybe that will stay with you. I don't know, maybe it'll help you. I still have to do it. To this day, I still have to watch what I take in. I still have to, we could all take in everything, but I think we could all also go mad. I really believe both things are true. And I think we have to each listen to our own internal compass, because if someone shames you into saying you should be watching the news every night, or you should be staying on top of this or that political situation, if you know yourself, those people don't know you. And if you think after trying that, like, no, actually that makes me unfunctional. That's what happened to me right after the Women's March, and I tried getting involved in politics, but I would just cry like crazy at the meetings. And then people told me how much that helped them. But, it didn't help me. And And that sounds selfish. And I actually felt selfish and felt like I should still keep going with the politics stuff. But I guess what I mean by it didn't help me is, like, I wouldn't be sharing any of these songs if I had kept doing that. Because what I mean by it didn't help me is it felt like it was derailing me from a path of greater usefulness. By trying to be useful in those smaller ways, I was so depleted and my heart hurt so much because those super anger-filled political meetings, it would take me like a week to kind of slough off the emotions that I picked up or that were raised in my own skin for me from being at those places. And so that's just not the right way for me to be useful. It had way too much fallout. So, I don't know, I feel this is true for everyone. Like, I feel like our emotions are a compass. I talk about that in a Cloudlight song. Sounds. It's track 2. And that song felt like it was given to me from somewhere else to try to pay better attention to, what emotions do I want to be experiencing and which ones do I not want to be. And if I know what behaviors create which emotions, then I can choose, because we all have free will, I can choose to stop doing those behaviors if I don't like the emotions and the results that they predictably create. And that's what that song is about. And it was given to me on like this quiet ukulele. I had like a almost broken foot and Brian drove me to the pier in Grand Haven to sit and write songs because I had been so homebound. And that was one of the 3 ukulele songs I wrote that day. And it felt, it didn't have that like haunting, weird, spacey sound. Originally it was just like a gentle ukulele ditty. And it felt like something out there was trying to give me that little tidbit of knowledge. Like, in those songs, anything like that I think people think or whatever people say sounds wise, like, that's not me. Like, that's me, like, I don't know. I just feel like I'm listening to something when I say things that sound like that. I don't know. Anyway, learning to share like this has been a life-changing thing for me. Whether or not it's useful to you, whether or not you're a friend or family member of mine and you're like horrified that this is how I share with the world, I guess I just don't care anymore. It made me realize how long I spent caring what the people closest to me think of me and how weird it is and how abnormal I am. And I guess I feel like I've wasted a lot of my life worrying that I'd be perceived as abnormal rather than just saying, oh, right, I'm abnormal. Like, and just maybe telling those people to just shut up. That's the meanest word you're going to get in probably one of my videos. But seriously, sometimes you just have to tell people to shut up. And if they want to talk about you behind your back, go for it. It's a free world. I was going to say free country, but I don't know. I don't know what anything is. Anyway, and if they want to talk about you, and if haters want to talk on your YouTube channel, which I haven't gotten yet, but I'm sure if any hater types stumbled onto this channel, they'd be like, what the heck is this? This is bad. They'd be like, what are you doing? Stop it. You're sabotaging your life. You're crazy. You seem crazy. You're coming off as crazy. Like, why are you sharing all this? No one wants to hear it. And then all I would think is like, well, I guess I want to hear it. I don't know. And then I could just keep it to myself, but then like 2 other people might tell me, I'm so glad you did this. And then I'd be like, oh, okay. So me plus those 2 people. How would I even find those 2 people? Like, how is someone like me supposed to find the people that want it and weed out the people that don't? Like, how would you do that? You just have to trust that the world, having millions, billions, whatever of people, you have to trust that all the good or neutral-hearted people will just look the other way while you do things that they don't approve of or don't relate to. And if there are people in humanity who want to intentionally stare at people that they disagree with their approach to life and then continually tell them that, then holy crap, I just don't relate to those people. Like, why do those people do that? I don't get it. What high are they getting off of tearing people down? And to think that many of us define our lives around those bullies. I mean, those are just grown-up bullies. That's all they are. They're just bullies. You shouldn't define your life around bullies. That's silly. Anyway, I'm just rambling now because I actually deleted enough room on this recorder. Now I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot what this feels like to actually have room to just blab. I never have it on my video anymore. I never have it on this recorder. Wow, maybe that's been a good thing. Well, let's consider this also a check-in of the day. This is Thoughts on Day 300. Yeah. I don't know. One last thing I'll say is that I've been scared to reach day 300. Because now that I'm at day 300, there's only 65 days left. And you would think I would be excited about that, but I'm terrified. I'm terrified that after day 365, that I won't know how or who to be this and by what authority when I feel like it. Because what I've been able to be for these 365 days is forced, quote unquote, by this challenge. And I am genuinely afraid that I'm going to go right back to having these impulses to wanting to share with all of you, all 39 of you, or maybe by the time I'm dealing with that, there will be 40. And also, there's Instagram clips, and that's potentially hundreds of different people who I barely know, and I, like, a lot of you who followed this are people that I, like, really admire and look up to. And, like, I don't know why any of you are following this. It's weird to feel like such a young soul. It's weird to feel so childlike and be a middle-aged woman. It's weird to just not have any idea who to be. Well, no, take that back. I know exactly who to be for what makes my heart happy, but it's weird to not understand what the heck that is in regards to the world. I think if I had weird, like, bedroom pop, freak folk, lo-fi kind of, like, followers, like strangers, people I didn't know, if I had a lot of them, I might be able to understand what this is. But I think I've changed genres and I've changed dreams, and I don't know. I guess I just don't have the benefit of being one of the people who knows how to figure this stuff out on my own. So I figured it out loud, or as my former producer of an album back in, like, 2014 said, and he said, some people create very intentionally, and he had a metaphor for that too, and then he said other people create like throwing spaghetti at a wall and just seeing what sticks. And at the time I was horrified that he might have been meaning that that's like me, adding a lot of stuff and then having to take it away, or having an outside person have to take some of it away. Like, I don't know. I've never really known what is good. I'm just constantly wanting to make things up. And then when people will like certain things and I'll be like, what, that one's good? Like, I don't get it. I don't know. I don't even like the word good. Like, when I hear people say things like, she has a good voice, or he's good at this, I just want to be like, Okay, I'm still talking. I'm going to stop. But somehow this strange rambling made me feel better and reminded me that I can always just come and check in with myself, whether or not it's recorded. Oh my gosh. I deleted so much room and I still ran out. Okay, that's a good signal to go. Also, the sun has set and I went this route on the way home from teaching, specifically to drive home while the sun was up, watching it kind of set as I drove home, but now it's pretty much set, so I should probably go. Alright, well, hope you all find peace today. Find moments of peace. And rather than look for big picture peace, just moments, just little pieces of peace. Alright, bye.